Well, welcome everyone to today's CatSig AGM. It's great to see so many people here. So this is the first in a series of CatSig talks we're going to have over the next month. So we thought we'd do it during the day because it's often simpler for people to attend now, and if they can't, they can view the webinar later via the LIANZA YouTube channel. So our first session's on the AGM and then an update from Anoushka on ORDAC. Oh, okay, my screen's just changed, but hopefully everyone can still hear me. So this year, CatSig has been very quiet. We were planning our main event in May of this year, but unfortunately with COVID that didn't happen. So we've had no financial activity or any activity at all, which we're sorry about. We'll hope to have a bit busier year this financial year. So we're starting off with our CatSig events for this year, so that's the start. I just want to confirm that all the committee has agreed to stay on and do another year, so I'd like to thank everyone for that. And we would be always interested in any new CatSig members, committee members, because at the moment there is just the 4 of us, Anoushka and Chris Todd, who look after the ORDAC side of it, so that's their main responsibility. Tamsin and Sue and I are looking after the main CatSig event side of things. So if you know anyone who'd be interested in joining and helping us run all these events, that would be great. We also this year managed to find a new Catapult editor after a lot of looking. So I'd like to thank Sarah for taking that on board and doing such a good job. And the other bit of news I have is about the Describe NZ website. Because we haven't been generating any income this financial year, that's then caused us problems with trying to actually renew our subscription. So we are in talks with LIANZA about offering the content on the LIANZA website, meaning it's got a lot closer connection with LIANZA instead of being something totally separate, which sort of fits in with the LIANZA philosophy. And so we'll have it as a drop-down link off their homepage, and then we will be able to keep our content as far as we can tell. So I will keep everyone up to date with that via Catapult if there is any changes or anything. Also, we would be keen to hear from anyone if they have any recommendations for any future CatSig talks, or any sort of face-to-face events they'd like us to hold or to organise. We've never done much actual physical networking like some of the other SIGs and regions with sort of get-togethers in different areas. So if people think that would be a good idea, we'd be keen to hear about it so we can try and organise things like that. If anyone has any suggestions or wants to join the committee, please just email the Describe the CatSig email account, and we'll get back to you about anything. So I think that pretty much covers the AGM, which, because we haven't had much going on this year, it's quite short. If anyone has any questions or anything, either use the chat or unmute yourself and let us know. If no one's got any comments, I'll then pass over to Anoushka for her bit of the presentation.
So, no, are there any questions? No? Okay. Joanne, do you want me to start?
Are you still there, Anoushka? My computer
Yep.
suddenly went funny.
So Joanne, can you hear and see me? No, I can't hear Joanne.
We can hear you, Anoushka.
Thank you, Amanda. I might just go for it then. So I'll share my screen because I've got some slides. Don't be alarmed, it's not a lot. It's just to give you something to look at that's not me. When I'm sharing my screen, I can't see the chat easily. So hopefully someone can confirm that they can see the slides.
Yep, we can see them.
Awesome. Right, well, I will just crack on. So firstly, hi, I'm Anoushka. I'm a cataloguing team leader at the National Library of New Zealand. I currently look after the monograph cataloguing teams. I've been a LIANZA CatSIG committee member since 2014, and I have been one of the CatSIG representatives on ORDAC since formally since 2018, and I am currently chair of ORDAC, which is the Oceania RDA Committee. So I'd like to give you just a brief overview of how CatSIG contributes to the work of the RDA Steering Committee via the Oceania RDA Committee. So just some reminders. So the RDA Steering Committee, of course, is responsible for maintaining RDA, resource description and access, which is one of our core standards for cataloguing. They are also responsible for developing that standard, which you'll know there's been a lot of work in the last year. So at the moment, the RDA Steering Committee is organised by regions. There are 6 regions. Not all of the regions have convened formal bodies yet. The ones that have are Europe through the European RDA Interest Group, North America through NARDAC, which is the North American RDA Committee, and us in Oceania, the Oceania RDA Committee, or ORDAC, which is us. Right. So at the moment, we really, even though we represent the whole of Oceania, which of course includes Melanesia, Polynesia, Micronesia, at the moment we still only have representation from New Zealand and Australia. So ORDAC's main aims are to represent the interests of RDA users in the Oceania region on the RDA Steering Committee. We aim to contribute positively to the development of RDA by disseminating information and seeking feedback on RDA and RDA development, and to promote and encourage the implementation of RDA by libraries in the Oceania region. So to represent the interests of RDA users, we do this primarily by selecting the representative from Oceania that will sit on the RDA Steering Committee, and make sure that they're fully prepared and supported to present the viewpoint of our region at the regular RSC meetings. It's not been a normal year for many reasons, and I will acknowledge that the information sharing hasn't been quite what it was intended to be, particularly this year leading up to the implementation of the new RDA toolkit, or as you may know it, as the RDA beta. So next year, I'm hoping and planning that there will be more of a focus on outreach and inclusion and conversation within the Oceania community about RDA once we're past the current upheaval of a global pandemic and the new toolkit is stable and live. Okay, so just briefly, the Oceania, who is on the Oceania Committee at the moment, currently consists of the Kim Guchelag. I'll just point, this is Kim from the National Library of New Zealand, who is the RDA board member for the Oceania region currently. Then we have one representative from the National Library of Australia, who's Jenny Stevens. We have two representatives, Melissa Parent and Eb Curtis, who are representing ACORD, which is the ALIA Committee on Resource Description in Australia, which used to be ACOC, or the Australian Committee on Cataloguing. We are currently lacking a National Library of New Zealand representative, who would be the counterpart to the National Library of Australia representative. And then finally, Chris, Todd and I are the two CatSIG representatives. So our role, Chris's role and my role as the CatSIG representatives are to specifically represent New Zealand's interests. We're the links in the chain from the New Zealand Cataloguing Committee all the way through to the RDA Steering Committee. Both mine and Chris's terms on ORDAC are due to expire early next year. So I wanted to signal that now, because if you're interested, this is a terrific opportunity to get more involved, particularly as we're heading into quite a big year in terms of the RDA development. So just quickly, what have ORDAC done? So what have your CatSIG representatives done this year? Because the RDA Toolkit redevelopment project is still ongoing, most of the REC work has been around that. And so it has been a little bit of a scramble at times to read the discussion papers that are put up before REC meetings, make sure that we understand, that we got comments, that we've prepped the REC rep to contribute on our behalf. Again, I will apologise that in a normal year, perhaps there would have been much more sharing in advance of the papers and soliciting comments from the community for us to put forward.
Hi everyone. Yes, it looks like we've lost sound briefly, and I think Anoushka has gone offline, so it looks like she had the same problem I had earlier.
I think this is actually a National Library network blip, because I had a problem at exactly the same time.
Okay, so Anoushka should be back shortly to finish her presentation. While she's getting herself reset up again, just to let you know, I will get the minutes from the AGM as they are, as well as the conveners reports written up for the next catapult, which is coming out later in the year. Once we have got Describe NZ switched over to the LIANZA website, I'll also get them put up online on there. But
Just when I got to the good bit.
okay, and Anoushka's back again, so I'll let her finish.
I think I cut out when I got to the good bit, which was what's coming up and what's exciting. Is that correct?
Yes, that sounds about right. Oh, we can't hear you now, Anoushka.
Okay, can you hear me now, Joanne?
Yep, that's good.
Oh, you. I was just thinking that Zoom was behaving itself for a change. Okay, so this is the good bit. Well, I think it's the good bit. So the next RSC meeting, it's online, and the public session is going to be an online live video call, and they have scheduled it at a very friendly time for our region. It's actually going to be, I'm not quite sure of the date, but it definitely is in the morning, like 10 o'clock in the morning New Zealand time. So that is a terrific opportunity that you wouldn't normally get unless you were in the city where they were holding the face-to-face meeting. So it's a public session. You just have to contact the RSD secretary to register, and then you can sit in and you can get a close-up view of what it really is like developing the standard we all use. Okay, so the next thing that's coming up that's exciting is the switch over of the RDA beta site to official RDA status, and this is definitely going to happen on December 15th, 2020. So it is all on track to happen by then. So after the 15th, we will all still have access to the current toolkit. To reassure everybody that after the 15th, you'll go to the, your usual RDA toolkit address, and it will be what we now think of as the beta, but we will still have access to the current toolkit. At some point, there will be what they've called the countdown clock. So there will be the current toolkit. They will decide a date and they will start the so-called countdown clock. And a year after that countdown clock starts, the old toolkit will disappear. So we will have a year, but the date at which that countdown clock starts will not be decided until quite some way into next year. So be reassured that the beta site will be the official site on the 15th, but the old site, the current toolkit, will not disappear immediately. We will have time. So which brings us to the third exciting thing, which is next year is going to be a big training and implementation year for us while we get to grips with the new RDA toolkit, what it looks like, how we use it in practice. And there is a great opportunity for our community to build events and perhaps more webinars and training sessions and events that help us get through the next phase of implementation. Then the fourth exciting thing that is coming up that I can share is that the next face-to-face RSC meeting in October 2021, provided we can all travel internationally again, will be in Wellington at the National Library of New Zealand. So traditionally around the RSC face-to-face meetings, there is outreach events, big RDA outreach events. So again, that is a huge, exciting opportunity for CatSig to have the opportunity to develop training and events that suit our region's interests. So finally on this slide, I just want to say a plea. Over the next few months, we will start asking, particularly ORDAC, will start asking the community in Australia and New Zealand and the rest of Oceania, what do you want from RDA training? And please, when we ask, can you tell us? Because we really want to make events over the next year that help everybody and suit us. So it would be good to know what it is you want and need. And it would be even better if you're really keen and want to help out. That's always fun. Okay, so to find out more about ORDAC and the RDA Steering Committee, ORDAC has a homepage on the RDA Steering Committee site. It's a little out of date. I'm sorry, but again, it's been a difficult year. And then finally, questions. I'm happy to answer questions live, or you can put them in the chat, or if something occurs to you afterwards, you can just email me. I'm happy to answer anything. Okay, I might just stop the sharing now.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Anoushka, for that very interesting presentation. Sounds like we've got a bit of an echo here. Okay, so that looks like it's it for our first session. Thank you very much for everyone who has attended. And if you've got any comments about either ORDAC or CatSig, please send us an email. We'd love to hear from you, especially if you've got any ideas for any training. Also, if you'd like the training to be online or face-to-face. With COVID, it's going to be a bit awkward trying to plan for face-to-face, but if people are interested, we will try and get something set up. But we will be really interested in any feedback people have about the series of Zoom sessions we're running and how they're finding it, whether there's anything we can do to improve it or anything. We're open to any suggestions at the moment. So our next session is on the 8th of October, which is next Thursday, with Charlotte on We Are Important and So Is Our Work. So we hope to see a lot of you there. So thank you very much for everyone, and I will make sure all the documentation comes out in the next issue of Catapult.